Hi, this is Teresa from Phoenix Gate Crafts. I'm going to talk today about investing in your tools. So something that happens to all of us in the beginning is we get a tool to use for a craft. So for example, I'll take my history with crochet. When I first started crochet, I was going to dance class and I learned from a lady who was crocheting while she waited for her daughter to get out of the class before mine. And she taught me, and one of the things I did was just go to Joann Fabrics, say, hey, I need a hook and I need some yarn. And can I have the yarn in blue, because blue is my favorite color, despite what I wear a lot of the time. And so I got a hook and I got a ball of yarn because that's exactly what I asked for. And knowing what I now know, I actually got the wrong hook for the size of yarn that I got, because I got a 6.5 millimeter when a 5.5 would have done better. But hindsight's 20/20, and you can't know all of this, just like you don't know what your preferences are. If you're into knitting, do you prefer wood needles or do you prefer metal needles? I was actually buying a bunch of wooden needles at first, and I discovered once I got a pair of metal needles that I like metal better because it can go just as fast as I do, plus I'm a tight knitter. Same goes for hooks. Do you prefer plastic, metal? Do you need a little hand grip? When you first start out, it is a good idea to try a whole bunch of different tools to see what fits your style more. But once you have that figured out, I personally don't feel that it's really worthwhile to keep buying one hook or one set of needles at a time. You can have the full set of DPNs, you can have the full set of Clover and more, but actually a much more cost-effective way of purchasing needles is to buy sets. And this doesn't just go for knitting needles, it also goes for crochet hooks. In fact, crochet hooks, the best deals are for sets. And I'm going to tell you something that my mom says about shoes. A good pair of shoes will take you to faraway places. And what she means by that is go ahead and spend a little extra money on a really good pair of shoes. They're going to last you a lot longer. And that's true. I go to a shoe shop where they fit you for shoes. I do this once every 3 years because I buy one pair of sandals that I wear constantly throughout the year, except for when it rains, and they last me about 3 years. It is very well worth the money to get a proper pair of shoes. The same goes for the tools you use in your knitting and crochet. So getting something of a higher quality is actually more worthwhile. So it doesn't always have to be expensive though, because my first example is the crochet hook set that I purchased. This set, the Greatest Happiness of Life, is a brand of crochet hooks that you can get on Amazon.com. The entire set cost me $20 and I only had an issue with one hook that had been not finished properly. It comes with a handy dandy case, some cheapo locking stitch markers that proved to be very handy, a bunch of different sized yarn needles so you can weave in your ends, and about 1 million different crochet hooks. The pencil is mine, ignore that. But yeah, it has from size 3.0 to size 8 millimeter crochet hooks. They have a various colors and they have wonderful grips that aren't sticky, and so far, and I've had these for over 1.5 years now, these grips have not worn down at all yet. And I use them pretty religiously, particularly my 5 millimeter, which is my favorite size. You can see from this that there is absolutely no wear and tear on it. And I use this one an awful lot. So I got one set. It cost me less than if I purchased these individually. Now I did have a problem with one hook where it was catching on stuff. I did try to fix it, but it didn't work. So I did purchase a Clover Amour hook, which is, as you can see, a name brand, but it's exactly the same, even the way the grip works. Sorry, wrong one. This one. Well, it's slightly different. It's got a little bit of a bump here, but it's got the exact same kind of handle, and this thing cost me about $3.50 on Amazon, versus this entire set wound up costing me, ooh, another pencil. This entire set wound up costing me $20 versus $3 a pop. If I got all of these sizes in this, it would have cost me so much more. Now, sometimes the cheapos don't work very well. Sometimes you do get what you pay for in terms of cheap tools. And if you don't like these, for instance, some people really like wooden hooks. Well, then get a set of ferrules. They're bigger in the handle. They're typically made out of wood or a polymer. They're much more ergonomic. I know I don't like them because the handles tend to be too big for my teeny tiny little hands. But purchasing a set of those is still a better price than getting each one of those hooks individually. And if you ever need to, you can always supplement with another hook here or there. But the place where I've noticed that quality really matters is in my knitting needles. So my husband's going to cringe at this because of how much I spent on these, but I bought ChaioGoo needles. Now these are not the only really good needle set you can buy. Hiya's, Addie's, and the Knit Picks brand are all very good brands, but these are the ones that I really like because I absolutely love the red lace cords that come with it. Because as you can see, these are just little cords and they have no memory. I can pull them out of this bag. You won't be able to see them because they're so thin, but they'll become straight, they bend, they move as I need them to, and it's wonderful. I can't get a cheap set of knitting needles because when the cord does that loop-de-loop thing, and even though you stick it in the hot water for 30 seconds, a minute wound up being a total of 5 minutes, and after about 10 minutes of knitting it curls up again, I can't stand that. So I actually purchased a really good set of needles. I've been using these since for nearly a year now as well, and these have shown absolutely no wear and tear. I use my US size 1s a lot, and I use my 4mm a lot because I did get the mini set, so it's the sock knitting set, and I got the regular set that goes from size 2 to US size 15. I use my 4mm a lot, and I use my size 1s, and they barely show any scraping from when I scrape off the needles. I think this is literally the last set of needles I'm going to buy for a very long time. I might have to buy a replacement part here or there, but overall, the little under $200 that I spent for both of these complete sets have been so worth it because I have all the needles that I need. The cords don't bother me. And honestly, I'm not going to have to replace these. It's already been nearly a year. I'm not going to have to replace these for another 4 at least. And then I can replace them piecemeal if I have to. So I find it's really worth it because otherwise I'm buying this one here, that one there. $5 a pop for a pretty decent set of needles, and you wind up adding up to all these sizes is probably going to be at least an extra couple $100 overall. So that's my advice is once you know what kind of needles you like, buy the full set. Don't keep buying it piece by piece as you need it. Now, there is another perspective on this, is that I can't afford $200 right now. What do I do? Well, then yes, you just purchase the ones you can, or save up for a couple of months, maybe a year, whatever you need to do, and save up for this set, because in the long run it will save you a lot of time, effort, and most importantly to me, money. I hope you found this helpful, and please like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification for more videos like this. Happy crafting!